Hello, welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful evening, and we have a new episode, and we're talking about my favourite thing, which is new projects that are about to start. Don't you love it when we start new projects? It's very, very exciting. So, the Wynn Encore Casino and Hotel, also known as the Wynn, is a beautiful, beautiful hotel in Las Vegas, very near to the convention center, not to be confused with Resorts World, which is a totally different hotel that is also going to be connected to the Boring Company, but that will be covered in another video in the future, maybe in the next 4 or 5 months. But this is a very important project for the Boring Company. It seems quite a small, minuscule project, but actually it's about moving the company forward and progressing the technology. And that is why this job is perfect. It's a perfect little testing ground for Prufrock, which is, as I call it, the game changer. So, Wynn Casino, tunnel facts. So this project is quite a small project. It's just a single tunnel. It's similar to the Hawthorne test tunnel in that it's just one tunnel, but this tunnel is actually going to be used pretty much, 20 hours a day, and it's 0.61 miles, so it's quite a bit shorter than the Hawthorne test tunnel, but it's going to be a nice little money earner for the Boring Company, this one, because it's going to get quite a few people travelling through it. It links the Wynn Casino to Station 2 at the Las Vegas Convention Center. So Station 2 is the underground station that is basically right next to the old part of the convention center, where most people go when they have typically gone to the Consumer Electronics Show in the past. Project cost. I don't actually know the firm cost. It's not really been talked about, but it looks like it's in the region of $9.2 to $10.5 million. That's quite a lot for 0.61 miles of tunnel. However, as you build things bigger, longer, in greater volumes, you get those economies of scale. So building a small tunnel like this inevitably is going to cost a little bit more than your typical job per mile. Start date, again, I'm not entirely sure. I think it could be the end of April, but we're looking at around May, possibly June at the absolute worst. Throughput, approximately, here's a kicker again, approximately at the absolute maximum, everything goes perfectly, it's going to be around 1,200 passengers per hour. It's probably going to be closer to 1,000, but there is the potential there as well that you could swap out the vehicles and go to maybe 1,270, 1,300 passengers per hour. But if you're going to be using Tesla Model X's, you're probably looking at around 1,200 per hour. The top speed of the autonomous electric vehicles in the system is looking at around 75 miles per hour. Now, that might not seem a lot, but this is a very, very short tunnel, so you've got to take into consideration that there is a period where you're accelerating, there's also a period where you're deaccelerating, so the ability to get up to high speeds is quite limited in this particular case. But as you can see, so here's Station 2, is like here on the ground. It's a nice run. It is a really nice run. The radius of this curve here is about 800, 900 meters. So that is perfect for accelerating. And you can get down here. This stretch in particular is going to be absolutely brilliant for accelerating. Obviously, when you get up to here, you're probably going to be braking. But you have this area here where you're going to have lots and lots of opportunities to get up to very high speeds. Just to make you aware that the vehicles are going to be running left to right and right to left in this system. Therefore, they release all the vehicles at the same time. It's not like one goes through, then another goes through in the opposite direction. They have a pool of vehicles, and all those vehicles are filled up with passengers, and then they're released at the same time. If a vehicle can't go, then it has to stay at its destination until the vehicles come back again. So essentially it misses up on 2 trips. So this particular project really fascinates me because it's going to be using the first version of Prufrock. So Prufrock is a very, very important piece of technology for the Boring Company. Without Prufrock, this company is essentially dead. Prufrock is all about refining the construction of tunnels and improving cost and time, and a little bit of quality as well, I guess, but it's more about cost and time. So reducing the cost of the tunnel and also increasing the speed dramatically compared to existing metro tunnels. So it's a big test for this TBM. There's a lot expected of it. I've produced a lot of videos saying, you know, this needs to happen, that needs to happen, and this is kind of, you know, the showground, as it were. A good analogy is you have a boxer that's coming through the amateur ranks, and then he goes into the professional ranks, and you are expecting him to beat everyone by knockout. And this is what I'm expecting of Prufrock as well. I'm expecting a very refined machine that obviously needs some improvement, but has got the core competencies that are going to lead to low costs and high speeds and good quality. So it's a new tunneling strategy. That tunneling strategy focuses on the supply chain, and it focuses on actually continuously mining underground. It'll also be using this porpoising technique, which is this here. So you start off at the surface, you're at an angle about 28 degrees, maybe 30 degrees, and then you kind of dive underneath. The good thing about this kind of system is that you don't need launch pits, and technically also you don't need reception shafts, although sometimes you will need a reception shaft. But certainly for launch pits, you're looking in the ballpark of around $2.4 to $3 million for a launch pit. If you can get rid of that and use porpoising, you're looking around, I'd say, somewhere underneath $800,000. Probably a lot lower than that, but I think it's something like a 60 to 70% cost saving, potentially. But I guess we will find out in the bill of quantities. That's my projection. When I hear more information, I will tell you, and I will kind of ratify what I'm saying. But a new continuous mining system will be trialed. How they do that, I'm not quite sure. I have an inkling, and I have been told potentially they may be looking at using some kind of double shield system with a gripper shield. And basically, instead of pushing the machine down the path of the tunnel, you are pushing outwards against the side walls of your excavation or your hole that you've bored there. So the use of gripper shields is an interesting development, and I hope to see it in the future, and hopefully it will work in this region of the world, because I have some concerns about that. But I guess we see that, you know, the proof is in the pudding, as it were. Segments and spoil to be transported via wheeled trucks, which is this here. As you can see, we're going away from our muck trains and the need to install rails. You're removing something. You don't need those rails in the tunnel. You're spending a lot of time building them and expense. Get rid of them. We'll replace them with these wheeled trucks or muck trucks or segment trucks, and thus that will dramatically improve the supply chain and the removal of spoil from the excavation chamber. So TBM's operation could be semi-autonomous. I'm not totally sure about this one, but I suspect they will be using some systems maybe to erect the segments, and also the actual muck trucks and segment trucks will be basically, they won't have a driver. They will pilot themselves. They'll probably be quite low speed, maybe 15 to 18 miles per hour, but they will be autonomous, although there will be some kind of person who's governing the tasks that they undertake. So it's kind of more of a semi-autonomous system, and in future systems it will go fully autonomous. Okay, let's just have a look about what I want to see. So based on my own professional experience, I want to see a lot of good progress with this job. It's a brilliant job for the Boring Company to do prior to the main Las Vegas tunnel of over 30 miles. It's a good little place to experiment and trial and see what works and what doesn't work. The most important thing is this porpoising, because they're going to start using this quite a lot. It will save them a lot of money, and it will increase the speed that they can launch machines. If they're going to have multiple machines on the actual main Las Vegas project, maybe up to 6 machines, potentially, probably more like 4. They're going to be using this porpoising technique, and they need to get it down to a T, as it were. So a sub 9-day launch of the machine via porpoising is important. Average boring speeds of more than 46 meters per day. Now that might not seem like a lot, because previously they were getting around 26, 27, maybe up to 28 meters per day at the Las Vegas Convention Center project. But it's slow and steady. You've got to work your way up to your ultimate target, which is probably around 100 to 120 meters per day in the sort of medium to long term, and then way into the long term you're talking closer to 180 meters per day. So to begin with, 46 meters I think is a good, solid, achievable target. That's about 150 foot in total per day, and that's an average. I suspect they will start quite slowly, and then they will build it up over the final sort of 2 to 3 weeks of the project. Tunnel completed in under 90 days. So that is the construction of the tunnel and the actual lining of the tunnel as well. And then on top of that, once you've removed your TBM from the other side and its reception shaft, you are then going to have to install your road deck and various other safety systems. And you also have an escape shaft, a ventilation shaft in this particular project. So again, all that needs to be done in 90 days for me to be impressed. And I think they can do that because the project is quite small. Tunnel operational in under 160 days. So from the day they start building the actual system or the cradle for the porpoising procedure, that's day 1. At day 160, I want to see vehicles actually going through the system, testing it, and actually running passengers through there as well. So I think that's a good target. I think that would definitely give people the understanding of how quick these systems could potentially be built in the future once this number is increased beyond 80, 90 meters per day. That can be obviously cut in half. Attention to detail. Nothing is more important than attention to detail, whether it be engineering tolerances or just the overall fit and finish of a job. That's what I've prided my career on, and I really hope that the Boring Company do the same. You need very good high quality standards, and you need to be hitting those targets all the time, and the Boring Company needs to be delivering a high quality, high tolerance project, and I think they will do that with Steve Davis running the show, as it were. So that's all good. Here is a better plan of what we're actually going to be building. So as you can see, this is the Encore here, and this is where it's going here. So it's this one here. It's about 0.6 miles. It's a nice run, perfect for running vehicles at high speeds. Potentially something like a Roadster, maybe Tesla Roadster, could get up to 90, 100 miles per hour in this tunnel, maybe slightly more. And potentially that would be of interest to people to give that a bit of a ride. It'd be quite fun. So it's a good project, but remember, this project also is going to be constructed at some point. This is the Resorts World project. That'll probably start, based on what I'm hearing now, around August, September, maybe October. Obviously this is dependent on pandemic situations improving. But here is our porpoising. So as you can see, it literally looks like the tunnel is coming out of the ground, because they actually do assemble these segments up on the surface here. And this, if you're wondering what this box is here, this is essentially a ventilation system, which is interesting because the actual current convention center system doesn't really have that much of a ventilation system to it. It's all naturally ventilated, except in Station 2. So the fact that they need that for such a short tunnel kind of indicates that when you start going to big tunnels, you're going to need much more sizable systems with a higher output than what we're seeing here. As you can see, all our vehicles are stacked here. How many vehicles they use, off the top of my head, I think it's around 15 vehicles, maybe up to 16 vehicles can park here. So they go here and then they come back round. They will all be loaded at the same time, and then the vehicles will be set off on their merry way, and they will all follow each other with a distance of about 4 to 5 meters in between them, and then when they get towards their end destination, they all slow down to about 20-30 miles per hour, and then just pull in there at the casino. Here is a good cross section. There's our ventilation system. It's quite tall, 6 foot, isn't it? About 1.8 meters. Okay. And there's our Tesla Model 3. Looking good. Here's a plan. So as you can see, that's our, God, that was terrible. Station 2 is here, and it literally is the vehicles parked on top, and then they come back down here. So you can go up the escalators. Where's the escalators on? I think the escalators are like here, and then you've got a short walk of around 80 to 100 meters to get into your vehicle. Yeah, so it kind of interlinks beautifully with that system, which is good. Here it is. So let's actually count how many vehicles there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a little bit less than what I thought. It was actually 12 vehicles, which is not too bad. And then you've got a crossing just there. Perfect. Okay. So that's good to see. What else have we got? Okay, so that's it. So those are basically your plans. This is the Encore casino here. If you've not seen what it looks like, it's a very, very nice casino. Hopefully, might stay there when I do eventually get round to going to Las Vegas, if this government ever lets us out of our houses. But I'm sure they will. Yeah. So great. Glad you joined us. This wonderful episode, and I'm really, really excited about this potential project starting. And I think this is a good little precursor to the main event, or the main course, which is going to be the main kind of Las Vegas system that runs down the strip and also goes to the airport. So a lot to be seen. There's going to be a lot of development on Prufrock that we're going to see for the first time, and overall that is the path forward for this company to profitability, and also to expansion throughout the United States and hopefully Europe, China, and South America in the future. So hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you, and thank you to all my Patreons. I really very, very much appreciate all your support. I understand it's difficult at the moment. Thank you so much for all your messages. And yeah, if you consider want to help support this channel, consider supporting me on Patreon for as little as $2 per month. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, so please consider watching some of my other videos as well, which you can find in the description below, and join me on Twitter, Instagram, and our Discord. Okay, thank you, and I will see you on the next one. And remember, don't be boring. I will see you in the future. Thank you, and good night.